forever chemicals, and how can the EPA help combat the forever chemicals? How do we get them out of our water supply, especially because they're so costly to remove?
So the 1st Congressional District had a number of PFAS issues. We had it at the old EPCAL site around, sorry David, around BNL, Gabreski Airport. What you see around the country, in many respects, a lot of the contamination, including at Superfund sites, were caused by the federal government. And not just the contamination caused by the federal government, but then the way the federal government lets time go by where they're not notifying the community and they're not remediating that contamination. Post 9/11, it was the EPA saying that the air in Lower Manhattan was safe to breathe. That was a mistake. I couldn't even attempt to apologize on behalf of the EPA at that point that statement was made then and it was relied upon, because I personally met way too many people who have lost their lives, who are there on the pile post 9/11, and people who are sick right now. The federal government has a responsibility as it relates to where it's contaminated itself, to clean it up. Now, to clean everything up, especially around these very large military bases across the country, you add it all up, and the cost is substantial. When I was in Congress, I was a member of the PFAS task force. I voted for the PFAS Action Act. That was a vote, by the way, that I probably was in the minority of the House Republicans on if I had to go back and look at that vote. As I've been going through the confirmation process, there have been primarily a couple of concerns that have come to me from Senate EPW members, the Senate committee that has jurisdiction over the EPA, Environment and Public Works Committee. On both sides of the aisle, there has been concern about a couple of different things. One is something that's called passive receiver. So there's a principle called polluter pays. And in the case of PFAS, if you're trying to clean it up, the people who should be responsible for cleaning it up are the people who did the contamination. Under the principle of polluter pays, they would pay for it. However, the way that some of the PFAS rules have come out, that local water municipality, maybe it's Suffolk County Water Authority, they end up having to pay for the cost, and then the Suffolk County Water Authority passes it off to the consumer. So instead of polluter pays, it's consumer pays. And I've heard from Senate EPW Republicans and Democrats that they want us to tackle it. That came from during the transition process when I was going through my confirmation process. The other thing that I've heard from is that there are, over the course of the next couple of years, there are dates that are coming where local water systems are going to have to be coming into compliance, start coming into compliance. There are water systems that are kicking, but they can pay for it. There are water systems that are kicking and they can't. There are communities that are lower income. There are communities where they have a tax base that can foot the bill. So what we're gonna have to be is extremely thoughtful in figuring this out. This is something that came to us from Congress. If you are registering a little bit of PFAS and you can't pay without causing a whole lot of economic pain on your people, maybe that conversation with you and your representatives in Congress goes a little bit different than someone else coming in. You have a massive contamination issue and you definitely can pay. You're just kicking and screaming and you want relief. So this is the other complaint that came to us from Congress that we're gonna have to figure out as those dates come up. PFAS is something that impacts the Office of Water, the Office of Chemicals, the Office of Land and Emergency Management, all across different offices of EPA. I come into this with my position from Long Island, my advocacy, which in many respects was alongside many of you, and I'm very grateful for your education of me through the years and your advocacy for Long Island. It's going to be important for us to figure this out, to do it thoughtfully, But what we're not going to do is just, be stubborn about it, tell everyone, sorry, status quo is the only way, get out of my office. We're gonna have to figure out how to address some of these concerns that have come in and tackle them. By the way, we should continue to research PFAS because not every single aspect of it is exactly the same. Everything kind of gets lumped together. Researching this is important, and that's going to be part of the solution as well.
In addition to clean water, another major issue